Welcome back to the Take Back the West podcast. This is your host, Frostee Rucker, and this episode is brought to you by the Believe Network and sponsored by betonline.ag. There's a lot of great bets out there right now. NFL's playing, NBA's playing, college basketball's playing. Unfortunately, college football's done. I was really getting into the college football, but Alabama won it. Hats off to them. We'll be back because we're taking back the West. As we pop under the hood of this Trojan offseason, I wanted to tell you guys about a dream I had. It wasn't quite like MLK, but I am working on some pretty cool stuff with restorative action and things like that, but I'll get back to that later. But let's get back to that dream. My dream was very surreal. It was like someone was talking to me and someone was telling me, hey, Frost, you need to interview more guys that really went through it. Not everyone just had the glimpse, the glamour, and all the bells and whistles that came with playing at SC. Some guys really had it through the mud. Some of these guys didn't win championships like you. I popped out of my bed. I was like, aha, I know what it is. No, I really didn't say that. I actually got up, got some fresh squeezed juice, sat around and pondered, and came up with an idea. This Trojan offseason, it's not just for the guys in college. We have a lot of guys out there playing NFL, and I need to get a hold of them. I need to talk to these guys and ask what it was that made them go to USC. So with that being said, one of the first guys I reached out to hit me right back. Yeah, I know, no one's surprised with that, but guys are busy. It's the off season. I get it. I've been there. I've done that. This guy's different. He carries himself different. Everything he does with purpose. This is a guy, he's a son of a former pro, the former #1 rated recruit out of the state of Arizona, a guy that stuck around through the years of the sanctions and watched some of his teammates transfer, not being able to go to bowl games, things that really matter to kids before they make decisions to go to USC. The great and the honorable Devon Kennard stepped by to chat with you guys. You guys are the ones that make this thing go. You guys are the one that goes to lafootballnetwork.com and checks out our videos. We're also on YouTube. You guys are the one that subscribe. The 7-year pro is now currently at home in Arizona playing for the Arizona Cardinals. This is legacy. His father played for the Cardinals. So without further ado, let's check in with Devon. So welcome back to the Take Back the West podcast. I'm your host, Frostee Rucker, at The Organic Frost. That's me. You can say AKA, whatever you want to say. I got my man DK on here, Devon Kennard, a Trojan, a 7-year pro, Arizona Cardinals. He's on. What's up, my man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Hey, it's an honor being on here with you. You know, you're a legend in my eyes. I remember watching film on you when I was at SC. So, it's been cool getting to know you over the years and chopping it up after games and stuff. And thanks for having me today.
Oh, absolutely, man. Was the film good, though? Was I out there?
Oh, yeah, you was out there working.
Okay, that's what I want to hear. Everyone, all our listeners understand, Frost Ruck was out there. That's what they used to call me, Frost Ruck. So Frost Ruck was out there getting busy. It was on tape. DK said it, so it has to be true.
Oh, yeah, you definitely put it on tape now. Hey, Coach O used to have y'all film up all the time.
Hey, we used to work. It was Coach O, man.
Hey,
it was Coach O.
Coach O different. I'm gonna tell you straight up.
That's like, to me, once you get your skin real thick, that's like a football god, man. Like someone that's gonna motivate you and push you to get every single ounce out of you for that field for your team. That I can't say thank you enough to that guy, honestly.
I mean, he's a big part of, my whole career as well. He was my position coach when I was there last couple of years, and man, he helped me take my game to the next level, and just, every time I get a chance to holler at him, seeing him win a national championship last year,
love, right?
So happy for him, man.
Yeah, man. It's principles, man. It's principles that you live by, especially how you go about your business for football. And it really expresses how much you have to care and how much it has to mean to you to play that game the way, you get down and play it. You got to be a tough SOB, thick skin. I already said that. You know what I mean? You got to want to physically whoop someone's ass. And if you're not, don't go around Coach O.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the culture at SC, he embodied it when he was there as far as like that competitive nature. You go out on the field, I remember I'm a freshman and I'm going against Tyron Smith, Matt Khalil. I got Alan Bradford in the backfield, Joe McKnight. Like, you know, I'm sitting here like, all right, every day at practice, like, I'm in my last meeting saying, I got to get my mind right.
Telling you, because it was something like that competition Tuesday, being on that film, you know, you're either going to expose someone or be exposed. And I swear, that is what is the missing link with football today. There's not enough of, you can be embarrassed, and we're going to poke fun at that so you get better.
Yeah.
You know?
Good on good, who going to win, and whoever loses, you getting clowned.
And that's it. Step your game up. I swear that's how we were so good, because we didn't want to get laughed at by our buddy, and then especially playing versus like UCLA and stuff like that. It's like our mental game was so sharp going into, you know, competing versus those teams. It was like, there's no way that you can see me because I'm built for this.
When you're going into a practice and you're kind of stressed out and like, man, I got to show out today. Saturdays came and it's like, man, I've been doing it all week. Like, I'm about to give it to them.
I'm about to work them out, bro. Like, I'm telling you, we used to be so juiced for games at SC, bro. No one would be sleeping at night. Lindell would be playing the speaker all night in the hallway. It was going down. Lindell would be ordering food, and I mean, I'm saying more than I need to say, but you know, we're past those consequences. But it was live, bro. It was like, I'd never seen that. It was already the pros, you know, like we were so pumped because we were so prepared, and preparation is just key. That got me through 13 seasons. It was like how I prepped.
Yeah.
You know? It's because they had the foundation at SC that got me there.
Hey, no, that's facts.
That's facts. So making your way back home, you know, you had a good run at the Giants. Detroit, a weird situation, got you out of there. Still don't know by definition what it was, but you made your way home. How did it feel? How did your family react? Talk us through that transition.
Yeah, you know, I wasn't expecting the whole Detroit thing at all. You know, I was coming off 2 of my best seasons in the league, team captain, Walter Payton Man of the Year finalist, all of that, and had a great relationship with the management and coaching staff. But business is business. They decided to let me go, and I wasn't too stressed because I knew I've been playing good ball, so I had a lot of interest right away, and none more than Arizona. And at first, I couldn't believe it because it's like, man, like at the crib for real. And, you know, we started negotiating the deal and came down. And what's crazy is my parents live 12 minutes from the facility. So
they're right by near Tempe?
Yeah, like I grew up in Ahwatukee. I don't know if you're familiar.
Oh yeah, I'm real familiar.
Yeah, went to Desert Vista High School, grew up in Ahwatukee. So it was like, oh, this is crazy. I was already home in the off season. So, you know, it was easy to sign. It was during COVID and all that, but they just, you know, I was able to see the doctors because a lot of people weren't able to sign free agents because COVID. But I was already here, so I was able to see the doctors and do everything. So I was one of the first free agent signings last year in the whole league because I just happened to be where I was already about to sign, so I didn't have to deal with all the hoops that everybody else did.
I mean, you lucked out. God bless that, man, because like you said, this was already an awkward year with COVID and dealing with that. And to be coming off, you know, getting released, was that the first time you ever got cut from a team?
Yeah, it was the first time. And they say if you play long enough, it's gonna happen to you eventually. And I'm like, dang.
Like it's Browns, bro. And it was like, especially if your team doesn't have success, it makes you even feel even worse. It was like, so y'all cut me?
That's exactly how, like, because we wasn't winning out there, and I felt like I was one of the bright spots, and I was like, how am I the odd man out? Like, you know, it's crazy, but you know, you learn quick. You got to put all that aside, and there's business behind it, and you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I went from getting released from Cleveland, signed a 5-year deal, and ended up playing in Arizona. But there was a time period between it. I was like really unsure if I was going to play. I was like, you know, my ego was in the way. Like, how they gonna cut me? And then I was kind of embarrassed, like. You know, because that
your pride get in the way. Because it's like, man, how I get cut? Like I've been like,
bro, we won 4 games, and I was like, and I PR'd in a couple different categories. I was like, and you're cutting me? You know, but I always said this once I left, you know, because I got a chance to play versus Cleveland twice in Oakland and in Arizona and beat them twice, which was great too. And I was like, I left and I'm still Frost and they're still Cleveland, but now they're in the playoffs, so I might be eating what I'm saying.
I guess you can't say that no
But
more.
I couldn't say it then, but when I was playing, that's the way I felt. I was like, I'm starting to get more success and they're still just not winning any games.
Yeah,
So,
everything happens for a reason. Because even, I was mad to leave Detroit. I was really close with guys in that locker room. Like I said, I was a captain and all that. But at the end of the day, it was a rough year for them as well. They dealt with coaching changes, getting fired in the middle of the season, and all the stuff they dealt with. And I'm like, man, everything happens for a reason. We had a real shot this year with the Cardinals of making the playoffs. In my opinion, we should have. We kind of tricked it off at the end of the year, and now we got to sit on the couch and watch these games, saying we should have been in them.
Well, you said it. You guys definitely tricked it off. I'm a fan, obviously, because I played there, so I'm alumni and I care. But, with you being there, Corey Peters, Chandler, Pat P, I know a lot of the guys, a lot of the core guys. And so I watched the game. I tuned in and I made sure I was focused on you guys. And it just felt like the season versus second half of the season happened. You guys just lost it. I don't know what it was. It was the energy. Maybe it was injuries. I can't really call it, but as a fan, I was a little disappointed. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm a fan now, so I'm like, I tell you guys.
And honestly, I can't put it on one thing. It's a combination. It takes all three phases to win games. And I look at it on the season, some of the losses we had, and I could definitely point out a couple that if we can get a couple plays back or do a few things differently, we should have easily won. But that's the NFL. That's what it comes down to. You got to win those close games. You got to win the games that you should win, and you got to some of those close ones that's nail biters. You got to find a way to win, and we didn't do that enough.
Yeah, the ball. I like to say football is a lot of luck. A lot of luck comes to it. A fumble here, or even recovering that fumble is a big deal. And I don't think a lot of people on the outside of the football universe really understand those little points of the games. That is the difference between winning and losing, because most games you lose or win by 3 points. So it all comes down to little parts and facets of the game. And yeah, there was moments where I was like, this team could be one of the best teams in the league. You guys start off on fire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, maybe it's this. I kept giving excuses for you guys. Like, well, maybe it's this. And then I just couldn't scratch my head anymore. I had nothing to say but just take my L's, because I had you guys projected to go to the playoffs.
Yeah, and you know what? Defensively, we're gonna be all right. We lost a lot of top guys on the defense this year. Had a lot of injuries, and but still ended up a top 10 defense in the league. And we left some out there. I feel like we could have done even better. And if we take another step forward, I feel like we can enter that top 5 conversation. But one thing I've learned in this league is last year ain't got nothing to do with next year. So, you got to build this thing from the scratch. Because I've been on teams when I was in New York where, we were dominant and we thought it was just gonna roll right back over to the next year. And it's like, well, you really got to start with a clean sheet of paper and build this thing all the way back up, because teams are going to watch the film from last year and game plan on who they're going to attack and how they're going to play certain things and things you thought you was dominant at. If you don't stay on top of, all of a sudden, like, man, how teams running the ball on us now, or how we not winning in the red zone, or whatever it is. So,
well, one thing I did to coaches and players when I was playing, and obviously I started getting older. Once I got to year 9, 10, 11, I started really asking guys what they were working on in the offseason, and that was coaches included. Like, what are you working on? Because other offense and defensive coordinators, they're looking at coaches' tendencies too. So no matter what, you can be a perfect line. You could have did what you got to do, but they know the scheme and they know exactly this coach is probably going to send some guys here.
Yeah.
And they start knowing things like that. And I always encouraged everyone to get better in the offseason. Don't just work out to work out. What can you get better at? Even your good can get better.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny that you say that, because, being an edge rusher and D-line, outside linebacker play, like, it's starting to become popular, but there hasn't always been a lot of like actual position work, working on pass rush, working on hand placement, working on stance and get off in the off season. At least most places I've trained, And last year or two, that's something I've been really emphasizing is like, man, like not saying you got to do it every day because we get a lot of it during the season, of course, but actually working on those things. Like, you know, for me personally, when I was in Detroit, I played a lot on the left side, just how their defense is structured. Like I always pretty much got to play on the left, and I got really comfortable. That's where I played the most. So I like, you know, playing for the Cardinals, it could be either side. And then especially if Chandler's in there, wherever he want to go, he get to go. So one thing I'm going to be working on this offseason is getting a lot more comfortable on the right side, because I feel like I get on the left side and I'm like, oh, I could throw my best stuff and I'm ready to go. On the right side, it's not the same comfort.
Your foot pattern. It's your foot pattern. And
yeah, foot pattern. And then like for me on my left side, I really like stab chopping. Like I really like stab chop. On my right side, my stab's not as good, so it's hard. And I like kind of double arm swipe or cross chop. But if I'm going against the best tackle and he know I like cross chopping, he gonna punch me in my all up in my chest. And so I'm like, I got to develop my stab on my right side. So like I'm a big proponent of what you were saying on actually like picking something a part of your game that you can improve and get better at.
Yeah, you have to. Like you said, it's every aspect of it, from your stance, your steps, your stab. So yeah, self-scout, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Self-scout as you get older, because they get younger, and with a good off season that you guys should have. I know nothing's came out to say, what's going to happen with COVID or whatnot, but with the OTAs and mini camp and, working on your craft then, and don't be afraid to, reach out to people that specialize in that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. That's something that I wish I would have did too. You're sitting in the same position I was. Like, I was self-scout myself, but I didn't take 5 more steps of like, okay, I need to hire someone for these 3 days to give me this. I didn't do it. I was working with guys and stuff, but not part of the business, the football business of Frostee Rucker. So that, better, do better, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So you talked to us about your time at the Giants a little bit. You played with some really good receivers. Obviously you played with Odell Beckham Jr. A lot of people don't know him on a personal level. They just watch him and, he has everything that comes to him. This year, you come to Arizona, you get to play with Hopkins and Larry Fitzgerald. Let's say that you're a very special guy to be in, atmospheres with all 3 of those guys I named. Tell me some differences of the guys, what you learned from work ethics. Talk to us about them.
Yeah, one thing I remember playing with Odell is I've never seen somebody with his athleticism level. Like the athlete he is, it's incredible. I've seen him mess around and throw a ball 70 yards, spin a ball on the ground and kick a 30-yard field goal, and then go into a practice and be like, I'm only gonna catch the ball with my right hand today, and do that. You know what I mean? So and really, you in the locker room, like, I'm catching everything with my right hand today. And it's like, all right. And then he go out there and you really see him, like snatching everything up. And it's like, all right, yeah, dude is special. And, I was there when we played the Cowboys and that legendary catch over his head that he had. And I've never seen nothing like that in person, but I can't say it surprised me, because not that he's made that exact play, but he made some ridiculous catches in practice, all the time. So it's just like, that's Odellin, like, you know what I mean?
Same feeling as that I had when I played with Reggie, right? Reggie did some stuff in practice that it was like, holy, like in game day, it was like, I wasn't surprised that he did it, because it was like, I knew he had it in his bag.
Yeah, exactly. And, one thing I've respected as much as I could, just being here 1 year, but I tried to pick Larry's brain when I could, just because, he's a staple of consistency. And without knowing him personally before, it seemed like in all phases of his life. So I was like, I found myself just watching him a lot, like how he carried himself, things he did, how he talked to people. And I took just as much on the field from him as I did off. He knew a lot of people's name in the building, and obviously he's been there a long time and all that, but would actually start conversations with people and ask them how they're doing and stuff. Like, and remember certain things about me, and like, not to say we would always talk, but if we did, like, he knew my dad used to play for the Cardinals. So he Like, how's Pops doing? I met him a couple of times. Da, 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 you know what I mean? So that always resonated. And then specifically on the football field, his stable, like, I never a vet that is that consistent in practice, that hard, and really cared about the game, did the little things. It's just it was amazing. So that's like was kind of a dream for me, because just in all facets of life, he's kind of one of those people I put on like a Mount Rushmore, as far as everything he's accomplished on the football field and off. So that's been cool. And then with D-Hop, I mean, dude is just special. You know, he goes out there very, very cerebral, chill, and then all of a sudden you just see something crazy catch. You know, see him route somebody up. You see it, and like you see it on the sidelines. I'm sure I don't watch TV copies a lot, but like he make a crazy catch, and he's not the type that's like, yeah, that, like, he's just kind of like, yeah, I did that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But, like, y'all might be surprised, y'all hype, but yeah. Right, on the sideline, he's like, throw it to me. And no like extra mannerisms or nothing to him, and they'll throw it to him and he make a big play, and it's like, told you to throw it to me. Like, so it's, you know, they're all different and all special in their own ways, but you know, it's been an honor to be around players like that of their caliber. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You growing up here and being witness to Larry's greatness as a kid, did you have a jersey or some gloves or anything? Did you have any fan stuff growing up with Larry?
I actually didn't. All my stuff was of my dad. You know, when you were a kid, your dad, your hero. My dad played, but he was always somebody I was like, dang, Larry Fitzgerald. You know what I mean? And as I actually think I started to appreciate him more as I got older, because I started to look at what I'm about and the values that I have. And obviously, you know, he's a Hall of Famer and all of those things, but I saw myself in some of the of how he carried himself, or like what I would want to be like and how I'd want to be perceived just from a distance. So I think that's why I gravitated towards watching him so much this last year, because it's like, wow, I get to kind of see how he really moved. Like, you know what I mean?
Those work, you know, and how, you know, how they maneuver. Like you said, you know, playing with Larry, I played here for 5 years, so playing with him, I was a captain, and I had a lot of intimate situations with him, just, you know, doing events and different things. And like you said, you can't help to learn from it, right? Because you know he's been in rooms that, you know, we've never been in. You know he's shaking hands. I mean, he's part owner of the Suns, right? You know, I was always like, you know, drop this knowledge on me. Let me know what's this. What, you know, where's your money getting parked at? What investments you got? And he was open with telling me. He wouldn't tell me how to get in them, but he'd tell me what he was doing. You know, like, you know, those are just power moves, and that's everything about how he goes about his business is very honorable. And you know, as long as you're in that locker room and you're in the community, which is going to be the next thing I talk about, just make sure you keep, you know, getting more from him, because I mean, there's no better person to sponge around.
Yeah, for sure.
So community-wise, you know, you being home, I know your high school is probably pumped, even though this was a weird year and you probably couldn't really be around. What are some things that you do in the community that stick out? Where do you want to take it?
Yeah, you know, for me, my whole career, I've been passionate about reading, education, youth, and giving them a perspective of like, you know, football is who I am, but football is what I do, but it's not who I am. Right. And, you know, that you can have other interests and things. So I've always been passionate about that. I've always worked with nonprofit organizations, after school programs where kids are getting tutored and things like that. And that's how I became a Walter Payton Man of the Year finalist my last year in Detroit. You know, getting that kind of recognition was an honor for me, but it just speaks to the kids I was able to work with in New York as well as Detroit. And coming home, it was a frustrating year because I couldn't dive into the community. But, you know, it was crazy because one of my 2020 goals was like, I've done so much work in the community and for the youth in other cities. It was time for me to do something at home.
Yeah, the same way, man.
And then 2 months later, I ended up signing for the with the Cardinals, and it's like, man, like, you know, this is my opportunity to get involved. So I've done what I could. I partnered with you know, the fire station, and during COVID brought them a bunch of meals, lunches, and hung out with firefighters. For the holidays, I found a nonprofit organization, an after school program, because that's, you know, what I like the most working with. And they helped me identify 10 kids that were doing great work in the community. It's called ICANN in Chandler. And, you know, I got a chance to give them a bunch of money to go on shopping sprees. And, you know, they really enjoyed it. And just being able to get recognized. It's a hard time to be a kid. You know, you're in middle school, high school, you can't go to school. Your parents are telling you can't hang out with your friends. You can't, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't imagine what they're going through. So for kids to excel during these times, and for their teachers and their mentors to be like, yeah, he's really stood out, or she's really doing a great job. You know, I wanted to give those kids the credit and something to smile about for the holidays.
Well, I'm sure you definitely did that, man. Stay being you. Your parents raised a great person, and you know, fortunate that you went to SC, and, you know, you're a leader, you know, and the moves that you're making, blessing people with time, right? Resources, you know, you have a purpose to your life, man. So no matter what, when football's gone, keep being you, keep doing that, keep being the light, right?
I appreciate it, man.
So your time at Desert Vista, talk me through this. So there was a season, your junior year, you had 111 tackles and 24 and a half sacks.
Oh yeah, you know, I led the country, and I still hold the state record for sacks. 24 and a half. Go check the tape. It's there. That's too.
Over Suggs.
Huh?
That's over Suggs and that.
Yes, I hold the state record till this day, 24 and a half sacks in a season. I went crazy. First game of the year, my junior year, I had 5.5.
Oh, just eat.
And you know, sometimes you see stats from kids in crazy places, and it's like, ain't no way. Like, they stat stuff, and hey, you go watch the film, I really had 24 and a half sacks.
You know what they say whenever you see someone like that, they're like, oh, he's playing versus little white kids.
I mean, hey, go check the tape. We actually put out talent in Arizona. People be hating. Even when I was at SC in the SC locker room, like, everybody be like, oh, because, you know, we already got SC or LA dudes and then Florida dudes. Man, you was in Arizona. I'm like, hey, go check. We got a lot of guys in the league. Cameron Jordan, Terrell Suggs, me, Trent Murphy, Deion Jordan. I could keep going.
Hank Johnson. I can keep going too. I know there's a lot of you guys.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah. I mean, and one thing I used to say, I was like, well, look at the elements they're playing in high school. It's hot as heck out there. I'll say heck. It was hot as heck out there. You don't think they didn't have to dig deep to get through those games?
Yeah.
In September?
Yeah. So every time I say, I'm like, the overall talent might have not been the same, but we had the star power still. Like, you know, we definitely still did out here. And it's getting even better. Like, shoot.
Chandler. Let's talk about Chandler for a second. Did you guys beat Chandler any of those years?
Oh yeah, I beat Chandler. I went to the state championship that junior year, and they started throwing slant routes and double teaming me, and Brophy beat us. But I ended Chandler's season in the playoffs my junior year. Sack, cost, fumble, and a recovery in the end zone.
So those are things you'll never forget that.
No, hell no. Yeah, I remember it because it was it never rains in Phoenix, and it was raining that night, and it was a mud game. The field was all mud. So there's like a picture of me after the sack, and I'm talking my talk, letting them know about it too. And I'm muddy and all that, and I'll never forget that moment.
That's awesome, man. Bless that. All right, so senior year, you're balling, and you tear your ACL. What are some things that went through your mind?
I actually tore it playing Chandler, third game of the season. And man, I shouldn't even be. It was at the end of the game, and one of our other running backs just fumbled, and we recovered it. But I played a little bit of running back, and it was like, man, we need to ice this game. Like, DK, go back in. And we run a toss sweep, and I was killing dude. Like, when I ran a toss sweep, I'm running over corners. Like, come on, y'all playing. I run a toss sweep, and I kind of stick, and then the safety's coming, and he lays it right on my knee. He hits me square on the knee, ACL tore. It was tough, man. That was one of the most humbling experiences I went through, just because at the time I was number 2 recruit in the nation, right behind Matt Barkley. It was me and Matt Barkley. And, I just needed to do my thing and stay healthy. And SC was always my dream school because of guys like yourself. So I always knew in the back of my head that's where I was probably going, but I didn't commit at the time yet. But you go through something like that. It was traumatic at the time. Like I remember watching the SC game after that, and like the defense was playing crazy, and I'm like, how am I going to be able to like get back to that? Like, man, like it was a rough point. Like I don't know if you've ever had a serious injury like that, but it was a rough point where I was hitting a plateau, and like there's certain things I couldn't do, and I'm like, am I ever going to be able to play at that level again?
Right.
So to push through that, go to SC. I remember my freshman year, I'm playing DM behind Everson Griffin, and
he's from Arizona.
Yeah, another Arizona cat. Like we hold it down.
Yeah.
So I'm playing behind Everson, and then it was really, we switched our defense because that was my freshman year. So it was Coach Carroll still, and then they moved me to Sam linebacker because I was playing pretty good as a freshman, and I started balling out, and that was all I wrote for my freshman year. I had a pretty solid freshman season. So I wore a brace that whole year though, but coming back from ACL, playing as a freshman and doing well, that was a big accomplishment for me.
Yeah, man, because adversity hits people in different ways. Some people can't recover from that. Some people don't have support. Thank goodness you had your father and you got other members around that probably held your chin up and told you you're going to be all right. Because I can only imagine going through a recruiting process and with a torn ACL, and it's almost like, what's that movie, Friday Night Lights, and you're Booby.
Yeah,
it's real similar. Booby was that dude. And then that injury happens, and we don't know whatever happened to Booby after that. But you had support in the right way, man, and I'm very thankful for that because who knows, man.
Exactly. Who knows? I've seen guys who had a ton of talent and couldn't bounce back from same or similar injuries. So I don't take it for granted at all. And rehab is really important. You got to take that mess serious and really commit. But by grace of God, I haven't had any issues with my knee since I came back. So I'll take it.
Amen. Question for you. So obviously the show is called Take Back the West. I wanted to ask you, DK, I don't know how much you paid attention to SC football this year. They didn't play a lot of games. It wasn't normal. They played late. What do you think defines Take Back the West?
It's time for SC to dominate the West Coast, period, again.
Let's go.
All the West Coast, like we got to be the school to go to, no debate. We need the swagger, the confidence, the competitiveness. We have to recultivate that, and it might be in a new way. The game's changed, things have changed, so sometimes you try to like duplicate it. I don't know if we can duplicate the teams that you guys had and all of that, but the energy, what it means to be a Trojan, what it means to fight on, the swagger, the physicalness you play with, the aggression. Like there's certain elements that the griminess, I forget what it was called, but the old weight room before they changed it, I got it my first year.
The dungeon?
I was in the basement. Like
no windows, no nothing.
That griminess again, we need to get that back, and as soon as possible. I think we're still putting out a ton of talent. Don't get it twisted. I watch games when I can, and they're still like that 99 DNs. He's special. I like him. That safety we got, I forget his name, but that boy Cole. Like, so we still got a lot of talent, but it's just getting it all the way back. Let's get the style of play right. The plays might be a little different because it's spread offense now. Like, I mean,
it's similar to what you run in Arizona.
Yeah, we can't say we're gonna run 21 personnel like we did back in the day. Like, so some I feel like some SC old heads is like, we need, like, it's like, bro, the game's changed a lot.
The game has changed.
You can't expect that exactly, but what does it look like now? And let's do whatever that is supposed to look like now and get back to that.
Yeah, because like you just said, being an old head, I hate saying it, but I do have gray hair. Being an old head in this situation and being in group chats with all my guys, and that's what we talk about. I think what we're accustomed to is, like you said, 21 personnel. You're going to run powers, you're going to run leads. and you're going to give them the business, and you're going to ball your fist up and square off. And we were running back you.
Right.
But now it's strictly quarterback you, right? That's kind of the feeling of what it is, and it's football's finesse. And that's really not the Trojan way of what we know, the grind. You've been, like you said, before this new facility was built and all that, we didn't have cold tubs. We didn't have hot tubs. There was nothing like that.
Yeah.
Like your freshman year, there was nothing.
Nothing.
You didn't go to SC because of that.
But I went there. I went to some dope facilities. But I came to SC. I saw that grimy, and like you're a Trojan when you feel it. It's like, yeah, it's grimy, but this is for me.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I just got to say, I got the goosebumps when you said it, because it's true. It's like you walk in there. I don't need, now they got iPads and lockers, and I'm sure they got all sorts of stuff. I knew they have an indoor golf facility and all that stuff. That's cool.
And those kids deserve it. I mean, I ain't going to act like doing it. Like, and I got a part of that because the new facility was built once I was there, so, and it's dope. And they getting the best of the best, but somehow get that edge back. There's still teams out there who got that edge. How do we get it all? How do we get that level of toughness all the way back?
I think it's the personnel. I think it's the coaching. I think right now what our team looks like and who they brought in and the dynamic of how they're changing it, the game will still be finesse if we still have the same offense, right? But the swag is there. The confidence of being a Trojan, knowing that, the Trojans, the icons on your helmet and what it's all about, knowing the guys that came before you and that you got to represent them.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of people that I had to represent when I was on that field because I would see them walking through the halls. Mm-hmm. I knew about them because they were coming and popping in watching film with Coach O. Hey, Coach O, can I sit in here? Oh, yeah, take his spot. Like it was like, but that's what it was. You get your little scrawny ass up, let the GOAT or the legend sit here. I remember seeing Willie Mack and Claiborne walk around every once in a while. Now he's there, he's coaching.
Yeah.
Hayes Pollard's there.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's about bringing some of that back, and those guys that know toughness, know what it takes to run through a wall and try to host trophies and get rings, and that's what it's all about. And I think they're on the verge of that, and I'm saying that because, like you said, football changed, and we're conditioned to seeing it a certain way, and we have to get out of that mindset. It ain't the same. No double days. It's different.
Football,
especially looking at SC now, before you know it, the next year or two, they're going to be paid for their likeness.
So some of these kids will be making a little money.
They're going to be making some bread, and then they're going to be there in LA. So maybe we do get more 5-star recruits because the media market.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the thing that changes it, but I hope so because it's coming.
No, absolutely. And, it's just, I don't think we as far off as, being a fan and, being an alumni, it's like, every year we want to be in the national championship. And it's natural. But, I think what I like is there's still talent. The guys are still there, and it's just taking that next step as a program to get back. But, we went through some, like, people downplay. I was at SC during the roughest time, because I came in, I had Coach Carroll my freshman year. He dips, and we the sanctions hit, man, and we had like 2/3 less scholarship guys than almost everybody we played. Think about that. Like,
still competing at a very high level.
Yeah, my junior year, when they took away the bowl game, we went 10-2, and we're the best team at the end of the year in college football, but we couldn't go to a bowl game. We would have at least been at the Rose Bowl, if not, we were in the conversation for national championship game. But at least Rose Bowl that year, and we couldn't go because of sanctions. And that's with a depleted scholarships and less money and all of that. And it took a while to bounce back from that. Like, we had some rough years before.
We really got the death penalty, and I don't think people understand that's a whole decade.
That affects years.
Yeah.
Because not only does it affect when I was there, but then recruits are now seeing that. Now the level of play isn't the same. Oh, is SC falling off? Oh, SC is not. So now you're not getting, what I mean? So you got to, like, it kind of makes you restart. Like, got to reestablish the dominance because, we showed chink in our armor. We couldn't go. Like, SC's not even in a bowl game. like not because we weren't good enough, but we just weren't in a bowl game that year. And some of the other bowl games we went to were kind of like weak, but it's like it just is what it is. And now you got to kind of, it affects a decade, like you said. So now it's all right. How do we go into the 2020s and reestablish ourselves as a dominance and take back the West, like you said?
You got to take back the West, and it starts, like you said, with not letting these guys leave. I think we're doing a good job of keeping our home-based talent there, and they're going to start cherry picking again of the best. Like they went and got you out of Arizona, Everson, all the Tampa boys and Miami and all. You got to control the West Coast, and I think they got a great idea with it. Dante Williams is a new defensive back coach now. He's not the defensive back coach. He's passing game coordinator and assistant head coach, but he was recruiter of the year. We got him last year. He's helping. I love the direction we're going, and I'm buying in. That's one thing I'm doing. I'm buying into it. Here's a question. When you guys got hit with all those sanctions that I'll say Reggie did, so no, I'm kidding. It wasn't me. But, when you guys hit with all those sanctions, when those guys transferred, how did you feel about that? Were they not Trojans? Were they not SC guys, or they were just taking advantage of opportunity?
Yeah, no. For me, when I went, Coach Carroll promised me, he sat in my living room and promised he wasn't going to leave. And he left after my freshman year. But one decision I made, even though I was young, is like, I'm going to SC to fight on. I'm not going to SC for Coach Carroll. So, and that's, I really bleed Cardinal and gold. Like I'm about that for real. And that's the difference. You know what I mean? And when you're going through rough times, I feel like that's what shows what you're really about, and your competitive nature and what you're willing to stick through. And I can't blame anybody who did want to leave. I mean, it was tough. It was some tough years. We wasn't getting the love and the attention. We wasn't winning games the way, but for me, it never really crossed my mind, even though I dealt with a lot of adversity while I was there, just because like, man, I want to, I'm not shying away from nothing. I'm fighting on, you know what I mean? And that's, I feel like as rough as it was while I was there, that's like prepared me for the career I've had in the NFL and for life after ball. Cause I'm not the type that's going to shy away from nothing.
Yeah. Never fold. We don't do that. DK, if there's one thing you could tell your younger self, what would it be?
One thing I could tell my younger self, it would be.
Chew on that. And while you're chewing on that, you need an SE helmet up there and get rid of it.
No, I'm gonna get one soon.
Yeah,
I didn't collect. I need to hit the new equipment manager and be like, "What's up, man? Give me a helmet." But I would say keep working and don't stress. For me, when I was in college, I went through some tough stuff because Coach Carroll left. I moved to middle linebacker, and my skill set, I'm an edge guy. But I'm a smart football player, so I didn't play bad at middle linebacker, but that wasn't a position I should have been in. So I moved positions a lot. Every year I had a new D coordinator and played a new position while I was at SC. So I go from number one recruit in the nation to tearing my ACL to going to SC to getting new coaches and a new position every single year I was there. So it was tough, and there was times I doubted myself, doubted what's about to happen, and I was a lot more stressed than looking back I needed to be. I knew I was good enough to play at the highest level, and I needed to just trust that and keep working. And I probably would have enjoyed some of those down days a little more if I trusted myself, my abilities more, and was just like keep working.
I like that. Yeah. Keep working, stress less.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. Well, DK, thanks for coming on with us and Take Back the West podcast. Where can everyone follow you at?
Follow me at Devon Kennard. You can find me on all social media, and then also DevonKennard.com, all info football-wise and what I got going on off the field. So appreciate it. Fight on, man, and it's a pleasure.
All right. You got it, man. Thank you. So I tell you, I'm very impressed with this young man. On and off the field, everything he does with purpose. And that's just what it's all about. When we're looking for guys to look up to and looking for leaders out there, we don't have to go far. We need to tap right back into our Trojans that we know. They come from great families, they're great people, and they're leading by example. So with that concludes this episode, Take Back the West podcast. I'm your host, Frostee Rucker, and I'll see you guys next time.